On Action 11 News tonight, an estimated 40,000 people turn out for the concert and fireworks on the Belvedere. We'll have a report. We'll tell you what the pilot of the Aloha airliner went through to bring his stricken plane back to Earth safely. Gary Rizzo says the beautiful weather will continue this week. Gary Montgomery has a look at today's sports. And Dennis Cunningham reviews some new arrivals at the video store. Action 11 News. Good evening, I'm John McGrath. It was the largest crowd ever to pack the Belvedere. Tonight, thousands of people turned out for the Derby Fest for the night of free music and fireworks. Action 11's Paula Campbell was there.
It was the chance of seeing two great bands of the 60s that drew this crowd to the riverfront tonight. Here, young and old brought blankets and chairs to sit and enjoy the sounds of some old favorites by Gary Puckett and the Union Gap and Three Dog Night. This year's Derby Fest is said to be the biggest and best yet. It also drew the largest crowd ever to pack the Belvedere. Derby Festival organizers estimate at least 40,000 people were here tonight, but it was hard to tell from the sea of bodies that covered every inch of space. But despite the crowd, many say it was worth it.
All just to watch the bands. Everybody else came over here, so I came over here too.
I remember growing up and listening to these two groups when I was a kid, and just the chance to come down and see them again just was too much to pass up.
Even through this crowd?
Oh, the crowd's what makes it. If there weren't 2 million people down here, it wouldn't be as much fun.
A display of fireworks lit up the sky to top off the evening of celebration and music and fun. Paula Campbell, Action 11 News.
About 300 people showed up at Indiana University tonight to protest basketball coach Bobby Knight's comments on rape and stress. Organizers of the protest say they want to make sure people on campus are aware and to make sure that Knight knows the impact his statements have on young people. During an interview on NBC recently, he made the offhand comment, "If rape is inevitable, relax and enjoy it." The director of the Louisville YWCA Rape Relief Center says she has heard from people who will protest the remark by diverting donations that would have gone to Indiana University.
We've gotten a call, and then in conversations we've had with other people, it may be taking on the form of another more silent but perhaps more potent demonstration, in that some people who normally would be donating to Indiana University at this time of year, either alumni dues or an annual donation, are basically going to express their disgust, is one word we've heard, with the school supporting that type of a statement by diverting the donation to our agency.
The Louisville YWCA Rape Relief Center serves 6 counties in southern Indiana and 6 in Kentucky. A 26-year-old Louisville woman and her 2 nieces suffered minor injuries tonight in an accident near Zorn Avenue. Jefferson County Police say Carol Stone was headed east on Melwood Avenue with her 6-year-old nieces around 7:30. They say she swerved to avoid something in the road when her car dropped off the shoulder. Police say Stone then lost control of the vehicle and it flipped over on its side. A couple traveling behind helped to free Stone and her youngsters from the car.
When we got here, I saw wood out in the street, and we stopped to go around it, and I saw the car. My husband saw the car, and we went over and saw that there was a woman and 2 kids in there. And they're just lucky to be alive, just lucky.
Stone was taken to Methodist Hospital where she was treated for minor injuries and released. The 2 girls were only hurt slightly. The pilot of the Aloha airline jetliner that blew open at 24,000 feet on Thursday really had his hands full, according to federal investigators. Jerry Bowen reports the pilot pulled off a landing that few people have been able to do in the past.
Investigators said today that closer examination of the battered Aloha jet provides graphic evidence of the remarkable landing made by pilot Robert Schornsteimer. The wings and tail, the horizontal and vertical stabilizers, were badly damaged when the forward fuselage blew away. One of 5 control cables running the length of the jet through the floor was severed. Planes, especially 19-year-old jets like this 737, just aren't made to fly that way, said the investigator.
So you have no support from the floor beams themselves to give it rigidity or strength. So really what you have holding the airplane together is about 30% of the circumference of that hull.
In the initial moments of the harrowing flight, people in the rear of the craft could see blue sky but little else. A stewardess tried to find out if anyone was actually flying the plane.
Her first concern was as she looked forward, she could not see the flight crew. As she attempted to go forward, the onrush of air plus the buckling of the floor itself impeded her progress.
Pilot Schornsteimer and co-pilot Mimi Tompkins, seen inspecting the craft minutes after the Thursday landing, communicated in sign language because of extreme wind noise as Flight 243 diverted to Maui. And it was a high-speed landing, 185 miles an hour, about 40 miles above normal, because the plane was so unstable at slower speeds. Meanwhile, this weekend, the FAA ordered inspection of potentially high-risk older model 737 jets continues. A total of 66 jets operated by Aloha, America West, American, and Piedmont Airlines. The Aloha accident dramatically underscores a fundamental concern of an industry using older equipment, what investigators here call the big picture issue. The question, what is the limit on the use of these older planes?
This accident will bring a significant amount of attention to the aviation industry on the problems of the aging fleet.
This simply says that when we have an older airplane, the inspection and maintenance procedures have to be taken very carefully to an extreme as it gets older.
Later today, investigators will inspect metal pieces discovered on land that may have come from the aircraft, small pieces of evidence that could help them understand what happened. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Kahului, Hawaii.
Still ahead, labor unrest in Poland, and the Soviets celebrate May Day without criticizing the United States. Unrest in Poland this week intensified during today's May Day observances. Thousands of Polish workers are staging work stoppages to protest recent government price hikes. The workers say they need higher pay to provide for their families. This is the worst unrest in Poland since the beginning of the Solidarity Union movement in 1980. At one factory today, a video camera was smuggled in. Two priests are shown saying an illegal mass to the strikers. In all, protest leaders say more than 200 people were arrested today. May Day in the Soviet Union was more peaceful. The message today, good relations with the United States. Barry Peterson has the story from Moscow.
It was pomp and circumstance, and the real message was the one that wasn't on the floats and posters. No anti-American diatribe. Nothing that might upset the superpower summit in Moscow later this month. And there was something not seen since the invasion of Afghanistan, an American ambassador. The peace treaty has ended that diplomatic protest. Mikhail Gorbachev led in the members of the Politburo, leaving it to his wife Raisa to work the crowd of top-ranked Soviet dignitaries and show off her granddaughter. The parade focused on peace and perestroika, the economic restructuring which gets high priority from Soviet leadership, but not very high marks from the people it's supposed to be helping. Even by Soviet admission, this nation's economy continues to slip. The push for doing things in new ways is something many here don't like.
It's very difficult for a working person to change. We're used to working with direction. Now we have to think.
And for this country's millions, the promise of a better life remains unfulfilled. This is still a land of shortages, where a man with a basket of fresh tomatoes quickly collects a crowd on the street, where getting the most basic needs of life is still a matter of luck and lines. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Moscow.
Coming up, Gary Rizzo with a warm and dry forecast for Derby Week. So is here with the weather, and boy, does it look good for Derby Week.
Well, we usually have a series of cold fronts in a 7-day period. Not one cold front's going to enter the Commonwealth, which is good news for some. Bad news, especially for agricultural interests. It looks like the entire Ohio Valley will be dry. There's only the slightest chance of rain this week, so don't really count on it. For tonight, it will be clear. Low temperatures in the city will be in the mid-40s, but could be near 40 in many outlying areas. Tomorrow, sunny skies, dry, a high of 79. Clear again tomorrow night with a low of 48. Right now, as we look at current conditions, we have 62 degrees, the humidity 31%, very light north wind at 5 miles an hour, barometer rising at 30.03. Our high today topped at 78 and the low last night 44. No rainfall for the year. We're about 1.5 inches below normal. Well, regional temperatures right now are much cooler than our 62-degree temperature in Louisville. It's 60 at Bedford and Covington, and it's 60 degrees at Indianapolis. Cool spot is Evansville at 53, and it's even 55 degrees in Paducah. National satellite map shows clear skies from the Great Lakes all the way down to the Gulf Coast. There are some clouds in the northeast part of the country and down in Florida. We have high pressure that is in control of our weather, even though the center of the high pressure system is up in Canada. Very nice weather occurred today from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf Coast and all the way back into the Plain States. In fact, some of the warmer cities in the country were up near the U.S.-Canadian border. It was 80 today in International Falls, Minnesota, 79 in St. Louis, 77 degrees in Atlanta. All these cities were warmer than Miami, only 73 at the beach there, Miami Beach, and it's still cloudy with showers, and Boston only had a high of 51. It's snowing and snowing heavily right now in Wyoming with up to 8 inches expected by morning, low pressure in Colorado, and strong thunderstorms ahead of a cold front in the western Plain States. Salt Lake City reached a high today of only 46 degrees. Well, we'll take a look at the weather pattern for the week to come, and as we will, again, this high pressure system will be in control, bringing down very cool conditions east of the Appalachians. The air will be unsettled, and there will be some shower activity as well. But in the Midwest, those same air currents will be warmer air currents, mainly easterly winds, sunshine, low humidities. But out west, now we have a low in Colorado that's moving northeast. Another storm system will be entering the Pacific Northwest, move into Wyoming, and then track up to about southern Canada. So the cold front will zip across the Rockies, but then will become stationary or at least slow down significantly in the Plain States. So the showers will follow the cold fronts, and there'll be more snow in the northern Rockies. Possibly on Derby Day, the low pressure system will be in southern Canada with a cold front down into Texas. So it looks like we'll have very warm conditions with high pressure again in control. Tomorrow's weather map shows a very cool northeast part of the country, but at the same time it's going to be very nice in the Midwest, and those wind direction currents will be coming clockwise around that high pressure system, but when they go east of the Appalachians, we're going to see warmer conditions. In fact, it's going to be downright pleasant throughout much of the Midwest. And high temperatures tomorrow will look like this. Looking at temperatures in the 80s in the lower Ohio Valley up into the mid and upper Mississippi Valley region. Then it cools to the 70s, 60s, 50s, and even some very cold, clammy 40s along the New England coast. And this pattern will pretty much be as is for much of the week to come. Well, we'll take a look at the forecast, and I have the extended coming up in just a moment. For tonight, clear skies and cool with a low of 46 degrees on light winds. And tomorrow, look for sunny, dry, and pleasant conditions with a high of 79. For tomorrow night, mostly clear with a low of 48. On Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, and even into Derby Day, quite possibly the same story with highs around 80. Could be warmer, though, on Derby Day. At least we can actually predict the weather with some accuracy because nothing is moving our way from the west.
And I'm very happy to hear that. Okay. Thank you, Gary. Still to come, we'll find out about a safer way to go rock climbing. Oklahoma volunteer firefighters brought back a bit of history today to raise money for the Crusade for Children. Firefighters say they decided to do something a little different this year. Today they held an auction in the parking lot of the Walmart. The items being sold were antique fire equipment dating back as far as 1901.
Other distilleries down in the Frankfurt area, National and Beam and a few of the other ones, we went down there and we told them what we was doing for Crusade, and they opened up their old hose houses and maintenance shops and everything else, and just generally we kept running out of truck every time we went down there.
Oklahoma firefighters say they hope to raise $2,000 from the auction, which will be added to their total donations to the Crusade in June. If just the idea of mountain climbing makes you dizzy, there is a new sport that's made to order for the faint of heart. It's called bouldering, and it is a kind of climbing that keeps you a little closer to the ground. Kathy Kircher has the story.
Bouldering is really a safer, more intense form of mountain climbing in some way. It's more physically demanding in the sense that you're doing more difficult moves, but you're at lower risk because you're not so high above the ground.
Bouldering is clean climbing. No ropes, just the rock and the climber. It demands more than sheer strength.
The mental challenge, looking at a blank face and putting together a series of moves and succeeding in it.
The problem with this rock is basically that you've got the absolute minimum of holds to pull up on. You've got footholds that are about the size of a dime edge, yeah, and little tiny, like almost peanuts on the rock to pull on with your fingers.
Each boulder may present dozens of what climbers call problems, different ways to go up or around or across, using what natural hand and footholds are available.
This is no hands. This is climbing the rock face without the use of the hands.
Lightweight, tight shoes with sticky bottoms help feet cling to rock. For the hands, chalk helps fingertips grip the tiniest holds. Beyond that, it's finesse, agility, and practice, perfecting a series of movements much like a gymnast on rocks.
Once you have succeeded, it makes it seem like there's really nothing impossible, nothing you can't do if you really put your mind to it.
I'm Kathy Kirchner.
Still ahead, Gary Montgomery with sports. He'll have the big payoffs on the last two races at Churchill Downs. Montgomery is here with sports, and Redbirds had a good day today.
Very good day. Good afternoon. Have the evening off, and also tomorrow. The Louisville Redbirds take a day off tomorrow, and then they start a 6-day road trip. They start in Indianapolis on that road trip. They'll enjoy their day off, remembering their 2-1 victory over Nashville this afternoon. The Sounds were threatening in the third inning. Lenny Harris gets the base hit, and Greg Monda had thoughts of scoring a run, but left fielder Mark Ryle for the Birds guns him down at the plate. Nice throw to get that out. Then into the fourth inning, Ryle at the plate shows his skills with the bat. He homers over the right field wall to put the Birds on top, 1-0. Louisville goes on to pick up this victory over Nashville, 2-1, the final score. Let's move to the major leagues now. In the National League, the Reds hosted the New York Mets, and the visitors held a 1-0 lead in the fifth inning when Tim Tuffle hit his first home run of the season off Dennis Rasmussen. The long ball put the Mets on top. It was 3-0 at that point. Well, next man up, Keith Hernandez at the plate. In the fifth, he goes long ball off Rasmussen. It's his 14th RBI of the season. The Mets, 4-0. Well, Cincinnati had a pitching change, and the Mets' next man up, Darryl Strawberry homers. This one off Perry. 3 back-to-back home runs for the Mets, and they beat the Reds 11-0. Let's go out west. The Dodgers and the Cardinals. St. Louis scored 6 in the first inning. Former Redbird Luis Alicea singles to score Terry Pendleton. That puts the Cards on top 4-0. Then later in the inning, Vince Coleman singles to right, little bloop hit. The hit produces 2 more runs, and the Cardinals ride that very successful first inning to a 9-0 victory over the Dodgers this afternoon. San Francisco, a winner over Chicago. They beat the Cubs 7-6. Pittsburgh down San Diego 4-2. And Atlanta was a winner. They beat Philadelphia 9-5. Also in the National League, Montreal downed Houston in 14 innings of play. The final was 7-3. Over in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles dropped another one. The Chicago White Sox started fast. In the first inning, Ivan Calderon hit a 3-run homer to put the Orioles down 4-0, and they were unable to catch up. It's the O's 23rd loss in 24 tries. Chicago 7-3 over Baltimore. Detroit beat Seattle 3-2, and the Oakland A's down Cleveland 8-4. Minnesota blanked Boston today 2-0. Texas a winner over the Yankees 5-1. Toronto beat California 6-4, and the Brewers from Milwaukee beat Kansas City 10-6. On the NASCAR circuit today, A.J. Foyt was fined $5,000 and suspended from NASCAR stock competition for 6 months after a run-in with officials during the running of the Winston Cup 500 at Talladega. On the track, Phil Parsons won his first NASCAR race. He took the lead from Jeff Bodine 15 laps from the finish and hung on for the victory. Bobby Allison was second, and Bodine finished third. On the golf course, Curtis Strange made this putt on the third extra hole to beat Greg Norman in the Insurance Open in Texas. Strange won this event for third time today. He must enjoy that Texas weather. In the NBA playoffs, Michael Jordan scored 55 points in the Bulls' win over Cleveland. He becomes the first player to score 50 in 2 straight playoff games. He had 50 in the Bulls' first win. Chicago had to overcome a 13-point first-quarter deficit to get today's victory. And watch this nice save by Oakley. Who's on the other end? You bet. Michael Jordan, 55 points. Final score today, Chicago over Cleveland, 106-101, and Chicago leads that best-of-5 series 2-0. Boston a winner over New York, and Boston is up in that series 2-0. Seattle beat Denver 111-91. That series is tied at 1 each. And tonight, Atlanta down Milwaukee 104-97, and Atlanta leads that best-of-5 series 2-0. There were some handsome payoffs in the final 2 races at the Churchill Downs today. The first in the feature race, the Salzburg. Here's Mike Battaglia with the stretch run.
Into the stretch, and Christmas Wine continues to lead. Katie Kisses on the rail second. Alva on the outside is third. On the extreme outside, that's Kelly's Advocate. They're nearing the wire. Katie Kisses now gets the lead. Then Christmas Wine. Nearing the wire, it's Katie Kisses.
Look at these payoffs. Katie Kisses, the winner, pays $53, $21.80 and $10.40. Christmas Wine, $5 and $4.40. And Alva, the show horse, returns $20.60 to show. Not bad. The exacta 6 and 9, $407.20. Now look at the 10th race. Final race of the day at Churchill Downs. Spencer Pike, $12.20, $7.80, $6. But look at the place horse. Time Valley, $69 to place and $14 to show. J.B. Turner was third. The exacta of 7 and 2, $1,313.40. Give me some of that. And the daily double, the combination of 9 and 10, numbers 6 and 7, 6 from the 9th, 7 from the 10th, $1,104.40. Not very bad at all. I'd like to have that. And the Kentucky All-Stars were named today. Let me run down the list of some local players on the Kentucky All-Stars. First of all, for the girls, of course, Kim Pelkey. She is Miss Basketball from Doss High School. Also, Stacy McIntyre from Scott County. From Ballard High School is Christy Jordan and Sandy Vincent from Shelby County High School. The boys All-Stars, of course, they are led by Richie Farmer from Clay County. He's Mr. Basketball. Also, James Brewer of Bardstown, Rick Henry of Wagner, Junior Graves from Seneca, Doug Johnson from Bardstown, and Kenneth Martin from Ballard High School. Congratulations to all of them.
And I'll second that. Thank you, Gary. Still ahead, Dennis Cunningham with some advice for people who like to watch their movies at home. Now, usually Dennis Cunningham reviews movies on the big screen, but tonight he looks at some of the latest releases on videotape.
Now, we don't do every single new home video release. No. Only the best ones. And only when we have a group of the best ones. Well, now we have a group. 3 recent releases, and all highly recommended, beginning with a sci-fi comedy fantasy about a timid little guy who unknowingly has a miniature Navy pilot hidden somewhere within him.
I'm in here, inside you, inside your body.
Oh, God. Somebody help me! I'm possessed! No, you just have an itty-bitty test pilot coursing through your body. The test pilot is a daring and rambunctious Dennis Quaid, shrunk until he cannot be seen. But his character is contagious, and poor, shy, quivering Martin Short catches it. Inner Space is the movie, a hugely entertaining movie for, as they say, and for sure, the entire family.
That day, she was amazed to discover that when he was saying, "as you wish," what he meant was, "I love you."
Now, here's a very unusual movie oddity, a movie fairy tale, and director Rob Reiner presents it beautifully. It's The Princess Bride, once again, for the entire family. The Princess Bride, featuring daring do, and daring don't, and romance, and good Lord, it's the Shrieking Eel. The Untouchables, not quite for the entire family. It is, however, a grand entertainment nonetheless, featuring Sean Connery's Oscar-winning performance, and G-Men and gangsters, and as presented by director Brian De Palma, a movie of striking style. That scene is a doozy, and so is that movie, and that movie is The Untouchables, and that is rated R. The other two are more the entire family sort of movies. The other two are, in addition to The Untouchables, The Princess Bride, and Inner Space. And I'm Dennis Cunningham for CBS News.
And that's our news for tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next weekend for the Derby.